Sister Lila, can someone check her pulse, please? And y'all done woke Dorotea up. Oh my gosh. Sister Lila, wake up, mama. All right, so since I haven't read the books or anything yet, I looked it up, and apparently this woman you see here is from the Sook School, known as the Sook Medical School in the Dune universe. It is a prestigious institution specializing in advanced medical training. The black diamond tattoo you see here on any Sook doctor's forehead is a symbol of imperial conditioning, which is a rigorous training protocol that marks graduates of the Sook School, but also the protocol prevents them from harming their patients or betraying their oaths. So they're the most trusted medical professionals in the known universe. So I'm sure the real nerds were gagging, like the real Dune nerds, once they, like the book nerds, once they saw that diamond, right? I was watching like, girl, this has to be important. And then, of course, Tula later mentions that the Sook School had allowed this doctor to come on short notice. So I was like, yeah, let me see. So yeah, apparently this doctor is not only a doctor, but she studied with the Bene Gesserit too. And it's just like, my goodness, what a prodigy, girl. Like you, okay, mama. And it just goes to show you that the Bene Gesserit really have their hands, they fingers in everybody's stuff, like everything, everywhere. The doctor said that the source of the heat was internal and not external. Tula tells her that Kasha had a nightmare when the doctor asks if, anything weird was going on. Moving on, the purpose of this scene here is just to say that the acolytes think that, hey, someone could have attacked Kasha. It's just crazy that the boy died at the same time. Like, we got to keep our eyes open. So that's what they were saying here. So here Valya and Tula talk, right? Valya was like, girl, it's way too, girl. She's like, girl, it's way too much going on. I'm going to have to step in the ring myself. I'm going to have to step in a boxing match myself. She said, Pruitt Rachesi has been burned just like Kasha was. And Valya is convinced that this is the burning truth that Raquel spoke of. So I was like, girl, as soon as Valya's convinced that Raquel done told her something, the voices in her head done whisper something, you can't get her off that topic. You can't get her off that. But Valya was like, oh my gosh, who's going to take my place when I'm gone? I don't know. And it's just very a roundabout passive aggressive way of saying like, Tula, girl, you need to take this, but I don't know if you can. And Tula was like, girl, quit playing. You know I can do it. You know I could do it. And Valya was just like, girl, I don't know. Do I know? Can you with your emotional self? Like Valya really tries to play this hand like, oh, Tula's so emotional. She might not, know what she's doing, as if Valya herself isn't also almost purely guided at this point by emotion. It's so funny to watch Valya really think that she's like this, logical, no emotion can overtake me kind of girl, when that's all I've seen emotion do to you, Valya. Anyway, Valya then says, hey, guess what? While I'm gone, you're going to have to put your favorite Lila through the agony. Because we got to talk to Raquel at this point, and we're going to do whatever is necessary. And Tula starts shaking, girl. She starts trembling, honey. Like, she starts trembling. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe that you asking me to do this crazy stuff. Like, Lila certainly is not ready for this. I raised her after, I can't do this. And Valya was like, girl, if you lead her, she'll be fine. It's okay. Then Tula, because she has sense, tells Valya, like, okay, girl, that's fine. That's fine that you want to get to Raquel, but we have secrets, right? And since watching the entire episode, obviously, I'm taking this as, girl, you left Dorotea bleeding out on them steps, mama. If we make one wrong move, we could be talking to the wrong ancestor, girl. She goes drop all RT. She gonna drop all RT. She gonna expose all RT. And Valya was like, girl, it'll be okay. Just do it. I'll be back in a flash. Every time Tula brings up a concern, she's always right. Like, at this point, and I know we just in episode 2, but I'm like, she's always right, and Valya always dismisses her. And I'm like, girl, Valya, I know you got a lot of stuff going on, and the palace is crazy right now. Y'all got Desmond walking around. Like, I know that stuff is crazy. I think she's stretched extra thin right now, which is why she's like, girl, I don't care about the repercussions. Just try it. And it's like, girl, Tula keep trying to tell you that this stuff don't make no sense. Then Valya goes to Theodosia and tells her to come with her to the Imperial planet right now. And I know Theo must have been like, girl, I got to reschedule my hair appointment and everything. Like, sis, talking about, I need to go right now? What's wrong with her? So I guess at the boys' memorial thing in the palace, Constantine, it's just a mess. Constantine's already making eyes at the dead boy's sister. The emperor himself didn't come to offer his condolences. Like, it's just a mess. The Duke clearly ain't happy, obviously. He was like, ain't no little toy burn this boy up like this. Like, you got to be kidding me. Like, that's what he said to the Empress. And the Empress was like, yeah, girl, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you, mama. But that's why we banned the thinking machines. If you have any questions, please leave them with my assistant. And then she logged out of Teams. The Empress logged out of Teams. She logged out of Zoom, closed her laptop, mama. She put up that out of office autoresponder email and walked out the room, mama. I was screaming because I'm like, girl, you have to know that this ain't gonna stop. I was like, you have to know that this man finna use his arsenal of ships against this planet. Like, you have to know. She just walked out like, girl, I don't know what to tell you. You shouldn't have you shouldn't have had him walk around with that Game Boy, that Nintendo DS, girl. I don't know what to tell you. Now, I love this scene because Desmond clearly is unbothered by the Emperor trying to arrest him. The Emperor was acting like he was so mad that Pruitt Richese, whatever, died, the boy, when he clearly wasn't, and Desmond clocked his tea on that. And also, it showed all over his face that the Emperor was still curious about how he could use Desmond to help his cause. And knowing what we know now, it's so funny that the Emperor told the Swordmaster to keep it quiet and not a word gets out about this. Like, I'm crying, girl. Word definitely is going to get out, especially talking to the Swordmaster. And to be honest, I kind of want the Emperor to arrest me if I get to, just for a moment, maybe like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just so I can be in this suspension cell for a little while. Like, he levitating like he's about to say Azarath Metrion Zenthos. I was like, okay, girl, this fancy jail cell, okay. Okay, so Tula asks Lila, like, you know why we separate infants from their mothers when a sister gives birth? And I'm like, y'all do that? I guess I was supposed to know that, but and then they did tell us episode 1 that the Reverend Mothers never usually tell them who their parents are. So I was like, okay, I didn't realize that y'all took it this far. Y'all separating babies from, y'all think y'all the Trump administration. Separating babies from their parents? Okay. Or at least from their mother, right? Because she asked, you know what we do when a sister gives birth. So I don't know. Tula answers, of course, yeah, we know why. Or I know why. That's to prevent bonds that one might hold above the sisterhood. And I was just like, oh my gosh, y'all are really nasty for that. I mean, I get that it's obviously effective in some way, but how terrible is that? And Lila is smiling while she's saying all this stuff. I'm just like, whoo, child. So Tula tells Lila of Raquel's prophecy, and Lila's like, oh, well, and also of Kasha and all that stuff. We already know. Like, they think that it has to do with Kasha. And Lila's like, oh, well, we can't let the sisterhood be destroyed. Like, what do you need me to do, honey? Like, what do you need me to do? And Tula says, I need for you to talk to your great-great-grandmama, who is Raquel, by the way. So on one hand, Lila's gagging, like, oh my goodness, Raquel is my great-great-grandmama. But on the other hand, she's like, wait, y'all want me to go through the agony? Y'all got to be crazy. You have to be crazy. Tula says that she thinks that Lila can survive it, but the choice would have to be hers. Valya, on the other hand, girl, I know she would have forced that child. She would have forced this student to go and do it, whether she wanted to or not. And I know she wanted Tula to do the same thing, right? Valya wanted Tula to force her. All right, y'all, we got to talk about this. We have to talk about this because for me, this be the weakest part of the show for me. Let me tell you something. This sex be seeming so sterile and corporate. Like, wow, this show cannot do sexy. And I know it's not just because I'm a homosexual, because I've seen hetero scenes where I can just say, like, it's objectively hot, right? Like, I could just be like, okay, that has some chemistry, that has some, like, steaminess to it. Like, but this, girl, it's like watching paint dry. I am so sorry. I am so sorry, girl. I'm so sorry. And she talking about prove yourself, and he gonna flip her over. Constantine gonna flip her over and act like he was really doing something. Like, I'm sorry. That's twice now that Dune has showed me they ain't good with this kind of stuff, because I was just waiting for this scene to end. I promise you that. I promised you that. But here comes the most important reason why they're screwing each other anyway. The prince is trying to find out if the Duke will use his ships to seize the throne. The Duke wants Arrakis, though, which makes sense because that's where the resource is at. That's where the spice is at. And the Duke's daughter finds out there is a soldier in custody because Constantine can't stop his running mouth. He can't shut up. He don't know how to shut up. And I think, honestly, Constantine is looking for someone to take him seriously, because he said, my father doesn't think I pay attention, but I saw him take a soldier into custody. It's almost like he's like, my father don't really pay me no mind, but see what I know, look what I know. And I'm just like, boy, why does she even need to know that you know that anyway? Like, you just reeking of insecurity, and it just shows, honey. I'm so sorry. So, of course, she's like, does this have to do with my brother? Like, does this soldier that your father has locked up, does he have to do with my brother? And of course, Constantine tries to beat around the bush and be like, okay, well, is the Duke gonna use the ships? Girl, Constantine talk too much, bro. He talked too much. The Emperor ends up telling his wife that Desmond is the culprit and that he apparently survived being swallowed by the worm, and that it gave him gifts. He's like, the Duke gonna blame me for this. I gotta do something about this man. I gotta do something about this soldier. And his wife immediately says, child, if he gonna fight for us, then maybe we should keep him around, don't you think? Don't you think? So Lila's getting advice from Emmeline, I think is her name, but this Emmeline is a zealot, if I'm getting her name right. She's a zealot. She's telling Lila things like, well, the dead aren't really gone. It's an honor to be a martyr, da 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 da. And Jen is looking at her like, Jen is looking at them like, oh gosh. I think she's just protective of Lila, clearly. And she sees Emmeline as this zealot that she is. And so it's just, I don't think Jen likes that. Obviously, clearly, she doesn't like that at all. While Tula is making the poison here, another woman walks up like, hey, girl, what you doing? And at this point, y'all should already know that the sisterhood is nosy. Like, y'all are, the whole point of y'all organization is to be nosy. So Tula, you walking around, you know, making this poison and then people just walking in on you, girl, I would have been in some secret room. But I guess it doesn't matter because they did the agony with Lila publicly, anyone for even the acolytes to see. So it's, I guess, keeping it private doesn't matter, especially if maybe, you know, Tula's purpose of this was to draw out one of the Valia spy that came looking for her. So I mean, I guess I can understand. Tula clocks immediately that this woman, oops, because she definitely ain't no girl, no shade. But this woman was sent by Valia, and she's like, tell Valia that this is gonna have to be Lila's own decision. And the woman's like, okay, but it's not just Lila's life at risk. And I'm just like, all right, y'all, okay, we know that. That's why Tula's making the point. That's why I'm making the poison. I wish everyone would leave Tula alone. Like, she's really putting her favorite student on the chopping block for y'all, and it's still not enough. Y'all sending spies and da. Oh, well, do you really know what you're doing? And it's like, girl, yes, I'm putting my favorite student up here for the greater good of the sisterhood, and it's still not enough. Leave Tula alone, bro. Like, she don't be doing nothing. She just be warning y'all about the dumb stuff y'all be doing. Oh my God, these ships look so good. Like, VFX department, whatever, rendering, y'all ate these ships up. It looks so good. I love this shot here too. I think that in general, this show is so aesthetically pleasing, so much fun to watch, just like visually. And then the plot being this good, just it makes it. I of course I'm obsessed with the show, right? So Valia and Theo arrive on Secundus, and Valia tells Theo to make the princess trust her and that she surprised the palace with her visit. So the Duke comes to the Emperor demanding information about Desmond, obviously, because obviously the daughter took what Constantine said with his big mouth straight to her daddy. Like, obviously, girl. I mean, the oldest trick in the book, and how many thousands of years of y'all in the future, you got tricked by some equipment that was in people's pants, is the way I'll say it. Like, that's the oldest trick in the political game, girl. And Constantine just gave it all up, opening his mouth. So they're at the height of these arguments in the room, throne room, whatever, when Mother Superior walks in to set all this stuff straight. She had come in, she's like, girl, you're in a crisis. I'm on my way. She came in there, honey. She literally uses her Jedi mind trick. And forces the Emperor to lie to the Duke about the prisoner. She tells the other Bene Gesserit in the room, the Duke's Bene Gesserit, that you need to get them out of here. Then Constantine gonna try and save face to his mama. This part was so funny to me. He gonna try and save face to his mama, talking about, you should take his tongue for that insolence. Like he really came up here and had the nerve to lie to us. Like, you should really take his tongue. Boy, everybody knows that you let it slip, hot pants. Hot puss. Everybody knows. Stop fronting. His mama told him to just leave, girl. She's like, you done enough damage already. Like, please leave, bro. Please leave. Valia tells the Emperor that Kasha's dead, burned in the same way that the boy was. So that's why she wants to question the suspect. The Emperor acts like he's keeping no one prisoner, but Valia's like, girl, stop playing. I already know your tea. I done clocked your tea. Like, I just want to interrogate him. So instead of offering the princess a hug or something, right? Valia comes in there, like, while the princess is hyperventilating and crying and stuff. Remember your practice. Like, oh my gosh. Like, girl, okay, I'm gonna remember it, but geez, I'm having a moment. Valia, don't ever cry in front of Valia. She ain't gonna give you no hug. She ain't gonna smile in your face. She ain't gonna do nothing. She gonna tell you to remember your practice, do your lessons, do your push-ups, and that's it. Like, girl, she ain't no type of empathy, no love. She ain't gonna, I know you don't know this girl like that, but my goodness, she could have a hug or something. But yeah, the princess calms herself down, and Valia told her, see, since you can calm yourself down, it just proves that you could be a reverend mother. And I'm just like, okay, does it really, do y'all really think she's that talented because she could calm herself down? Or y'all just want her because she's the princess and she's about to, clearly, obviously they want to put somebody on the throne, so that's the end goal. But I just think it's so funny that just because she calmed herself down, that Valia's like, oh yeah, Kasha knew you could be a reverend mother. I'm sure Kasha knew that too, but still, it's just like, Valia, you want this woman to be on the throne. You want her to be a sister and to put her on the throne. Like, let's just keep it at that. Anyway, Inez wants to leave the palace, but Valia would have to make sure that the emperor is going to allow that. In the meantime, she says, get to know Theo, who would have been your roommate. And she, very much planting the seed so that whenever the, emperor or whatever is out of the picture, that the princess is going to just immediately come to the Bene Gesserit. I just feel like she planted seeds, obviously. Theo is missing the mark so bad here. And I don't know why. I just don't know how you can see this woman, this princess, clearly in distress, and start off talking to her by saying, oh, well, what do you want to know? I can tell you about our classes, our library, our ID lanyards. Do you want to see the syllabus for my class? Like, I got really good GPA. Maybe you want to get into extracurriculars. Like, girl, what do you mean? Like, you should have started by offering her information about Kasha. Clearly, because she's in distress. Like, you're supposed to be Bene Gesserit, girl. Catch up, Theo. So yeah, I think she should have started by offering that kind of information to the princess, but the princess asked for it anyway. So at this interrogation, Valia asks if Desmond killed Kasha. He was just like, the boy, of course he admits to killing the boy. And also Kasha, he was just like, girl, she was unworthy, just like you are. I didn't see all the blood you brought in here. So I'm thinking Valia thinks that her use of the voice is working on this man, but maybe he just, I don't know. Because at the very end of the episode, her powers wasn't working, so why is the voice suddenly working here? I don't know. He told her about the worm giving him gifts, blah, blah, blah. The emperor ends up telling Valia to just keep this to herself until they can figure out how this man killed Pruitt and also Kasha, who was halfway across the universe at the same time. They're just like, girl, I get it, but we need to figure out how he's doing this. Moving on, I love this silencing technology that they're using here in the palace and no one can hear what they're talking about. But essentially, Valia tells this sister here that she needs to get her duke together. Like, get him in line, bring him to heel. Valia was like, we need to keep the fleet, but the emperor is slipping from our grasp. He must be reminded of our value. But first, I have to go see a contact. And of course, later we find out who that contact is. Now, the point of this scene here is just Jen telling Tula, hey, these women don't care about us for real. They're just using you. Please don't go following after these crazy zealots and these, Bible thumpers, girl. Like, they do not care about you. They don't care about sisters. They care about their sisterhood. Okay. So the Swordmaster is here collecting scans and stuff for his rebel group. And at the group, they explain, of course, they give us a little bit of exposition. They explain that the Swordmaster here is the descendant of the great war hero Vorion Atreides or something like that. Either way, I'm sure that's the same Atreides that Valia was talking about at the very beginning of episode 1, who led humanity or helped lead to humanity against the thinking machines. The group wants to strike directly at House Carino. Michaela here tells the Swordmaster, guess what? That speech might have been convincing to the others, but I saw you with the princess and we can't afford liabilities. Jeez. Okay, Tula and Lila here have a cute moment. But the cuteness runs out quickly when Lila asks about her mother, clearly Dorotea. And it's like, oh, girl, you might not want to ask about that. That's what Tula's attitude seems like, and for obvious reasons. She's just like, yeah, just focus on Raquel. You might see her. You might see your mama. You might not. Blah, blah, blah. Now this part, because when Tula lies to Lila and says, your mother died giving birth, I think Lila's facial expression here says that she clocked that immediately. Like, she clocked Tula's lie as soon as it left her mouth. And it makes sense because y'all are training these girls in your ways to detect when someone is BSing, when someone's lying. I think Lila clocked it immediately here, right? But she's going along with it. Because I'm sure at this point, especially she's talking to Emmeline and Jen trying to warn her, I'm sure at this point, it's like, well, if the mother is like, if the Bene Gesserit is keeping something from me and Acolyte, or lying to me or trying to mislead me. It must be for a good reason. It must be for the greater good of the Bene Gesserit. So maybe that's why she just, moves past it, brushes past it. Especially she doesn't have a whole lot of power here in this particular dynamic yet. So that's going to be interesting to watch. Moving on, Valia met with her contact, and it turns out it was Michaela. She's a sister. I thought that was really fun. I was like, of course. Like when I saw it, I was gagging, but then I was like, of course. So Valia says here that it was Michaela or whatever, Michaela and a group or whatever, who set up the attack on the Harvester. And I think we should put a pin in that, especially since that attack basically allegedly produced Desmond Hart. It created Desmond Hart. So I think we definitely should put a pin in that. We might have to revisit the fact that, their group, whatever, Michaela was the one who just set up this Harvester attack, put things like Desmond into motion, maybe. But yeah, put a pin in that. Valia said, yeah, that attack on the Harvester was cute, but now I need some names, something to give the Emperor a little win is the way that I'm interpreting it. Michaela gives up the Swordmaster. So I'm like, girl, Atreides, you walking around that palace and they got your tea, mama. All right, episode 3 gonna be crazy. All right, so these training scenes be so corny to me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not going to lie. I think that it could have been 1/10 of the length. Like, I'm so serious, y'all. These hetero scenes be so, it just be so dry. It be so dry, mama. I don't know, because the actors just met each other, but even then, an interview with the vampire, they be over there. I mean, the chemistry be off the charts, and I don't know, y'all. I'm thinking even Shadow and Bone, the TV show, some Shadow and Bone, the main heterosexual characters in a couple, I forget their names, girl. It was that one boy with the buzz cut. You know what I'm talking about, child. He's not buzz cut, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm just like, even in Shadow and Bone, they have better chemistry between heterosexuals. Even in Game of Thrones, House of Dragon, I should say. I don't know why it don't give me no type of life, bro. Like, at all. But the point of this scene was that long ago rebels stole the princess and the prince when they were kids. I think she was comparing herself to Pruitt Chasey being a child, so small and being killed anyway, caught up in the plots of adults. Also, the death of Kasha too has her thinking, So all the princess's life, she's seen people used and cast away like pawns on a chessboard, and she says as much. She's like, that's all we are. I do like when she says to the Swordmaster that we can't be a thing anymore, because the Swordmaster was like, it would be bad for the both of us. And as a girl, it sure would. Like I said, you're a spy who's about to get his cover blown. Like, this ain't ending well for either y'all. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with these romance scenes or whatever, but when I say I feel like they were created by robots who never experienced the spark of human connection before, like, wow, this is the only part of the show that I feel like is so severely lacking to me. It feels like the only these specific scenes, so it's like 2-3 scenes of the whole show, 3-4 scenes, like, it feels like these scenes feel like it was created by people who were told that in order to make a successful show that they must include sex and romance. And to me, I'm like, honestly, if y'all can't do it well, just cut it out, because it's so distracting, because y'all are doing everything else well. It seems to be like y'all love sci-fi, y'all like the showrunners, like, y'all are doing it well. It's just this romance stuff, like, oh gosh, it'd be so corny. Anyway, so Desmond is asked, are you a prophet, by the Empress? And he says that he doesn't know. He said there are things that he can do, beautiful and terrible things. He said, why not let me show you how I would humble those who try to take from you or sway you with corrupt counsel. And the Empress like, girl, if my husband ain't gonna do it, I'm just gonna do it. Like, you gonna have to show me what you got. Oh gosh, here come the moment. Here come the moment we've been waiting for, girl. So they got my sister here, girl. Oh my God, they got my sister here in her baptism robes, y'all. And Tula starts speaking. This is what she said. I'm gonna read everything. I'm gonna tell you what Tula done said to my sis. She said, crisis, survival, advancement. Raquella was poisoned, but she harnessed her body's own chemistry to survive, transmuting the toxins on a cellular level. In doing so, she awakened something deeper, the voices of her mother's mother, back and back, until all of the women who had come before her opened their minds to her and spoke. Lila, Cho Grace, Naberto, Anirul. Like, oh, girl, you got so many names. Me too, girl. I got a lot of names, honestly. Middle names and all that. It is time to awaken those who made you. It is an agony, but only this once. When you find yourself in the darkness, seek the light. Your foremothers will waken wild, hungry, Do not let them sway you. All that matters is the light. It will lead you back to life, back to us, and you will emerge a reverend mother. I was like, yeah, girl, that does sound like agony. Y'all picked the right name for that. Y'all picked the right name for that. I can't stand some of my relatives right now in real life. You mean to tell me I gotta go visit their spirits? Okay. So Tula got that long eye dropper talking about for this poison, there is no antidote. Still your breath, focus your mind, and unlock your other memory. Just follow my voice, let it guide you, and breathe. All right, Tula, you talking about let your voice guide me? You gonna have to speak up, baby. That I've been telling you this all season. It's just episode 2. When Valia come in the room, you gonna have to speak up. Speak louder, girl. Tula, we need you. If your voice gonna guide me back from the depths of darkness, you gonna have to speak up. You gonna have to speak up. So they dropped that stuff in her eye, and I'm talking about like sis start screaming. Sis start screaming. The acolytes are looking like, girl, this is too much. This is crazy. Like, oh my gosh. Okay, so I love how they portrayed like what she sees when she goes down, right? Because all these moving figures start to surround her, like, you know, they see her, they talking to her, they asking her like, okay, girl, like, what's the tea, girl? What's your skincare routine? You look good, sis. How you do your hair like that, mama? Your lips look so good. Like, oh my, what moisturizer do you use, mama? Like, they were really talking to my sis. Like they were really. But then Lila starts screaming. They take her down. Then she sees Raquella, right? And Raquella starts speaking, Raquella starts speaking through her. And she says, the key to the reckoning is one born twice, once in blood and once in spice. I'm like, y'all doing nursery rhymes around here. A revenant full of scars, a weapon born of war on a path too short. So, I mean, obviously the girlies are saying that this prophecy is about Desmond. He's full of scars. He was born once in blood, just regular born, and then born again in spice, you know, surviving the attack from the worm. So, you know, it's Desmond. Lila then goes to embrace her ancestor, and she starts tripping out in the real world. And she talking about some, mother, is that you? And she's like, huh, is that what they told you to get you to come? And so we see Dorotea's spirit or whatever pop up, you know, and then she ends up showing Lila how Valia killed her. Then through Lila, Dorotea said to Tula, Harkonnen. I was like, girl, Dorotea has y'all tea so bad. She's Harkonnen. You stole my future, so I'm taking your hope. I don't know. I thought she said home or hope, but I think she said hope. Let me know if I'm wrong. Girl, Tula, you should be, girl, I would have had Valia on speed dial so quick. Like, girl, you told me to do this. And guess what? You have exposed all our secrets, girl. She's coming. Dorotea coming. Now, Lila ends up dying because it's just too much. Now, I'm hoping, I mean, we're to think that she's died, that she's done, right? And maybe she really did, but I wonder if she's really going to stay dead or if the show's going to have her be used by Dorotea to bring about her revenge, her vengeance. You know, I don't know. This is sci-fi. This is Dune, so Lila, something could happen where Lila sits up like Jon Snow in the next episode. You know what I mean? It could, but as of right now, she has died. I cannot believe y'all did this to my good sis. I am calling civil rights lawyers. Y'all white women got my good sis down here. Like, I'm calling civil rights lawyers. Girl, the Better Business Bureau on the Bene Gesserit. Like, I really am, girl. I really am. So once the dude came in here calling the emperor all kinds of weak and I'll tear you from the throne and all that, I was like, yeah, girl, he done. I thought he was done. Like, I thought he was done. Because Desmond walked in and burns the duke in front of everybody. His wife is just, oh my God, what are you doing to him? Girl. The emperor tells him to go home, prepare your son, say nothing of what transpired here, and we'll let these tragic circumstances fade from history. Girl, ain't no way I'm just walking around as the emperor. Ain't no way I'm just walking around with a man like Desmond without any kind of leash on him. He just looked at the duke and then start burning up. Like, ain't no way. Desmond would need an ADOM or something. If you watch Wheel of Time, like, I'm going to need to put some restraints on him for real. I'll put a leash on him before, because you just burnt up my enemy, and that's really cool. But what's to stop you from looking at me and doing the same thing when you get what you want? Desmond would be on a leash, playing with me. That's the only way he would be allowed in this castle. I don't know, or palace. I don't know how I would do it. I don't know if I got to talk to Bene Gesserit to lock y'all. I mean, clearly the Bene Gesserit tactics ain't working on you, but somehow, if I can't put a leash on Desmond, I'm putting him down. I'm sorry. That sucks to say, but like, as an emperor, if I cannot leash Desmond after he just showed me twice what he could do, and then Kasha across the universe too, oh yeah, I'm putting him down. I'm putting him down. And I love this final scene here because Valia Harkonnen tries to see the Emperor, right? And she ends up seeing a freed Desmond instead. She's like, oh, wow, I guess the tables have turned, honey. And Desmond ends up giving her a pink slip. Ends up, saying, hey, we done signed all the documents that's necessary. We done let you go. Your services are no longer needed at the palace. He tells her that he wants to wipe out every trace of her and her sisters on the Bene Gesserit from each world. And so once he says that, she's like, okay, that's cool, girl. Take out your blade, bro. And I was like, okay, he taking out this blade. And she said, put it up to your throat. And he did. And then when she said, okay, so drive that hoe in then. Drive it in. And then Desmond was like, okay, I'm not going to do that, but you could try again. And she said, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to repeat myself. Like, she was looking, her eyes was like shaking. She was like, girl, what? And then she said, drive it into your throat, bro. Like, what's going on? Girl, absolutely nothing happened. He put that knife right back into his pocket and said, you know what? I had been wondering this whole time what your greatest fear was, and now I see it. Obviously, that's her being powerless, having no power, run around here, other people more powerful than she is, and she just, like, obviously. But then he says this. He says, it's not that no one will hear you, they just won't care. And I was like, oh my gosh, is he about to burn her right now? Is he about to burn her up right now? But Valia scurries away like she forgot she left something on the stove. Like she gets out of there so quick. She's like, oh, my voice ain't working. She tried to check her vocal cords. Like she do a little, like she doing arpeggios. Like she backstage practice. Like, what's wrong with the voice? What's wrong with the Bene Gesserit voice? Girl, it did not work on Desmond. But yeah, I really like what he said when he said it's not that no one will hear you. They just won't care. Because it's almost like you already done killed her, even though she's walking around still. Like, because it's true how you treat people, Valia. Will they care even if he comes for you later on in the season? Like, are you going to operate this way until you have no allies left, until your own sister is just like, you haven't paid attention to what I've been saying, you haven't been taking my concerns seriously? Like, are you going to keep going until no one cares, like Desmond said, that you being burnt up? Well, I guess we'll see. Anyway, y'all, as you can tell, I am very obsessed with the show. I think they're doing well. I already knew from episode 1 it'd be cute, but episode 2 really solidified to me that if they keep this plot up, the story up, going the way it's going, that I'm going to continue to be obsessed. So, like I said, I'll be reviewing every single episode. These videos are already in, like the videos that I put out so far are already in a playlist for the Dune Season 1 reviews. Make sure you check that out. Also, you know what I'm going to say. Make sure you check out my Patreon at patreon.com/AvatarAdrian, Zaraxia.com. Plenty of things for you to sink your teeth into. Love y'all so much, and I'll check y'all out later. Peace. Make sure that you're going to www.Zaraxia.com. When you join the waitlist there on the site, you will be the first to be notified when I drop my sequel. Also, you'll immediately get chapter 1 of my upcoming sequel of the upcoming book sent to your email as a PDF. So check that out. Also, this is a different excerpt from my upcoming book, so you definitely want to pause to read if you're trying to get your life. Keep in mind that this upcoming book, the sequel, is following up the first book that is already released called Zaraxia, Wrath of the God King. I released it a few years ago. It was my introduction to writing fantasy and stuff. So just go easy on me. But either way, as you can see here, it's given 4.9 stars. So yeah, check out Zaraxia, Wrath of the God King while you wait for Zaraxia, the Vengeance of Coldwind, right? And go to Zaraxia.com, sign up, join the waitlist, get your free chapter. Thank you so much.